What's up, everybody? It is the Golf on CBS preview show. Shane Bacon, Patrick McDonald. We got producer Josh with us as well. Justin Ray going to come on in a bit. But Patrick, we got to start with this. Was that the most exciting 72nd hole of the year in men's pro golf?
Wow, of the year. Coming on the heels of the US Open, also with that 72nd hole from JJ Spawn. I think I'm trying to
Got Masters as well. Drama there.
I'm trying not to live in the recency bias, but I think it's got to be, right? You don't have that switcheroo often. In the Masters, the US Open, it was kind of two different groupings, everything going on. This being side by side, I'll say it was. What about you? You think so?
I think because of the characters involved, it wasn't one, it wasn't two, it was three. I think without the Henley pitch in, you could probably make an argument for Spawn or something like that. But I mean, you have the Henley chip in kind of comes out of nowhere, right?
Totally forgot about that.
Yeah, it's not even really in the storyline when he make the chip and you kind of go, oh crap, he might make the playoff. And then Fleetwood, kind of quick hits the putt, leaves it 6 feet short. You have the drama of obviously the iron shot from Keegan, not to mention the back and forth, with Tommy and the iron choice there that we'll get into. But it was wild. I mean, this event is awesome. It's always awesome. You hear everybody in golf talk about how good the Travelers is, and it's great because it creates drama. I think about Scottsdale a lot like this. I mean, you think about the finish in terms of the holes. Basically from 15 on in Scottsdale, you could see birdies, eagles, and big numbers, right? And I think the same thing happens at the Travelers. I mean, you can see guys take on the short par 4, and you can see bogeys at 17. And then if you find the fairway at 18, it's obviously a birdie hole. Shout out to, what was it, Bubba and Corey Pavin that were in that playoff that one time. And I think Bubba had lob wedge and Pavin hit like 4-wood in or something crazy. But that's not the case anymore with this hole. It is a driver and the 9-iron or a wedge for these players. And obviously it's a birdie hole. And we saw birdie. I mean, Keegan goes out and gets it. And what a wild, crazy, weird, kind of bummer of a finish too. I mean, even if you're a Keegan guy, and I know, Patrick, I know you picked him this week, but in terms of Tommy, I mean, maybe the most disappointing kind of last stretch of holes since Rory at LACC last year.
Yeah, it's tough.
Or sorry, Pinehurst last year.
We were talking about my friend Chris Powers' tweet yesterday and the close calls that Tommy has had. I won't get into the last one, but finishing runner-up to Lowry at Portrush, finishing runner-up to Nick Taylor at the Canadian Open, another poor finishing hole. Remember that par 5 in Canada, a very gettable, easy hole. Tommy Fleetwood does not make birdie and then falls in the playoff. And then you lose to Captain Keegan in his backyard in a tournament that you should have won. And, Dottie Pepper, our CBS Sports colleague, in the middle of the 14th fairway. And we talked about the body language of Tommy Fleetwood. He seems like a guy who really slumps his shoulders when things aren't going great. He hits that wedge down the hill 14, and she's like, his body language is great right now. And I agreed. It looked like he was marching to the finish line. He had a 6-footer for birdie. He was going to slam the door shut. Keegan has a crap lie in that back bunker. Can't even go at the pin. It's over. And then he misses that putt. He's still 3 clear of Keegan at that point with 4 holes to go. Doesn't make birdie on 15. A missed
that was
club
the killer to me. The 15 tee shot was killer. He played that hole so well. And, I saw Solly and No Laying Up and tweeted out, the rough left of 15 needs to go. I think there were 10 balls in the water for the week. So considering that rough was there, you've got that bumper left. The bailout right doesn't make a ton of sense. And you saw a lot of guys doing it on Sunday. But as good a ball striker as Tommy is, it just feels like a golf shot. I mean, you got to hit a shot there. You got to hit the iron shot on 16, right? And it just felt like the tee shot on 15, at least for me, was the real killer.
Yeah, and even the putt, right? He had 18 feet left in the jaws, a couple revolutions short. You're like, okay, he's definitely thinking about it, coming off the heels of Keegan Bradley from kind of the gully, making another bomb somehow. And then the missed club had to have been on 16 going long. Poor chip. You're like, the nerves are going right now. Unbelievable bunker shot, mind you, on 17. I thought it was good. I thought it was going to be water all day.
I think producer Josh agreed. I think that was a very early text call. This is going in the middle of the lake.
Yeah. He's hitting at least 2 inches behind this golf ball, and it's going in the bottom of that pond. And then Dude, the back and forth on 18, I think I texted you guys. It just felt like he wanted to hit a full shot. He had the adrenaline going, and he didn't want to take something off it. And you juxtapose that to Keegan, who took a little bit off his shot and stuffed it, and it's just tough. It's he didn't deserve to win with the golf shots he hit down the stretch.
The taking shots off thing, to your point though, that I find strange is that's kind of Tommy Fleetwood's game. Like
Yeah.
his life is hitting half shots. I mean, you think about the way he follows through and choking up on the irons. Like it feels like if you were going, you heard Keegan talk after the round about the ear to ear 9-iron. And he goes, I've hit 100,000 of these in my life. Like that's one of the most comfortable golf shots I have, in my arsenal. And then think about Fleetwood. The pin's right for righty. It's like a perfect sawed-off 9-iron. And it's easy for us to say this after the round, obviously.
Yeah.
If he hits that wedge to 20 feet and 2 putts, maybe Keegan doesn't make that. But it almost felt like the shot that Tommy was made to hit was the one he originally had pulled. And then he goes back to the wedge. And if, you played any level of competitive golf, the last thing you want is indecision, over a pressure-packed shot. And I'd probably prefer the full swing as well. But for Tommy, it just feels like that sawed off kind of let it fly in there left to right and hit past the hole and spin back would have at least been the right call for who he is as a golfer.
Yeah. And then the very uninspiring putt from in front of the green, leaving himself 7 feet, leaving himself in probably the worst place possible, right behind Keegan Bradley's mark. And then I know people are talking about how his putt hit a mark there in the middle of the roll, but I think it was low all the way. I don't think it had too much to do with it. And to begin with, Tommy should have never been in that position.
All right, so for Keegan, because, a lot of talk is around Tommy Fleetwood. And before we get into the whole Ryder Cup conversation that I'm sure we'll spend a lot of time on, I do want to talk about Keegan as a golfer, right? 2011, burst on the scene as a rookie, wins 2 times, including the major, right? The PGA. Wins the next year, one of the FedEx Cup playoff events in 2012. And you're kind of sitting there going, this is like a real, professional golfer. And then he goes 6 years without a win, right? 2012 to 2018, gets the win at the BMW, and then starts to kind of roll through some victories, right? Gets a win in Japan in 22, and then picks up the Travelers last year, Travelers 2 years ago, BMW last year, and then Travelers this year. So he's got a major, 2 FedEx Cup events, a WGC, and now 2 signature events, 8 wins. I feel like 10 wins is realistic for Keegan Bradley at this point. 10 wins in a major and a lot of big tournaments that he's won. I feel like when he first came out, you're like, this is going to be a fluke major winner. And now you're talking about a proper player that's able to kind of calm himself down the stretch and pull off golf shots.
Yeah, all-time PGA with Duffner kind of throwing up on himself there a little bit.
Keegan threw up on himself too.
Oh, yeah. Keegan still had the belly putter too. Think about what he's had to go through trying to find a new putter. He had the how jittery he was behind the ball. That was a big talking point early in his career. He was spitting a lot too.
Oh, I
remember that. Yeah, just twirling the club, spitting, going back and forth, kind of doing a hezzy hey. And Shane, you look at since the beginning of the 23 season, they went calendar last year in 24, but that 22-23 season, there are only 2 guys who have more PGA Tour wins than him. Rory McIlroy, Scotty Scheffler.
Wow.
And then it's Keegan Bradley with 4, John Rahm with 4, Victor Hovland with 4. And those are your top guys. And so we talk about longevity a lot with Adam Scott recently, with Rory's career as well. And for Keegan, his longevity has been different, where there have been more peaks and valleys. It seems like it just hasn't been a total trajectory towards the top. And so it's definitely admirable. And a guy who's, like you mentioned with those wins, seems like the tougher the golf course, the better his game is suited, and finding some success on the greens there with the new putting coach or the last couple of years. It's been cool to see. He's just a fun guy to watch when he's in the mix.
Yeah, he gives you a lot of what maybe the modern player, you and I talked about this last night on HQ. It's the modern player almost mutes their celebrations, and it feels like Keegan leans into it. And granted, Keegan is 39 years old, turns 40 next June. He's kind of outside of that new generation of player, right? But it seems like he's only gotten better. We talk a lot about Justin Rose this year and a lot about Adam Scott at the U.S. Open. Keegan's not that far behind him in terms of age, and he seems to be playing his best golf ever. He's ranked 7th in the world, and I believe that's the highest he's ever been ranked in his career, which is very, very impressive. And so that leads us to the most popular conversation in golf right now. And that is what the hell happens with this Ryder Cup, because and I want to read before we get into the conversation, Patrick. I'm sure you looked at the transcript last night, but I was reading through some of the stuff Keegan had said. And Josh, I sent this over your way if you've got the transcript up from Keegan talking about getting the job.
Insane.
And basically, we went from, I feel like he was never going to be a playing captain, to now the conversation is Seth Waugh told him he wanted him to be a playing captain. I mean, if you read through this thing, it goes, PGA of America, Zach Johnson, Seth Waugh was the person who called me, mentioned they wanted me to be the first playing captain since Arnold Palmer in 62. The whole, to me at least, the whole storyline around this was, I'm going to be the captain, I'm not going to play. And now it almost feels like the narrative is switched. Do you get that same feeling?
He's downplayed it great the first 8 months of his captaincy, right before his form started taking off. And I think you just got to remember, this just adds such a weird wrinkle to this selection process for Keegan, because it was always going to be Tiger, right, Shane? And Tiger said, I'm not doing it. It was probably going to be Phil before that, honestly, but with that whole dilemma, didn't happen. PGA of America has no idea where to go. And not only is this odd with the call saying, we want you to be the first playing captain since Arnie, they didn't even have a conversation with him before that call. They didn't talk to him. They didn't interview him. Nothing. They give him a call on a random Monday or whatever it was at 8 p.m. Zach Johnson, Seth Waugh on the phone. Keegan, we'd love for you to be the first playing captain since Arnold Palmer. What do you think about that? Keegan Bradley's a true blood American. Of course he's going to say yes, but it just goes to show you how I don't know, disheveled or disoriented the PGA of America was when they're making the selection for their captaincy. So kudos to Keegan for playing this down, if this is actually what Seth Waugh said, which is a pretty ridiculous thing to say, I think. And
to not, this isn't, I mean, no offense to Keegan Bradley, he was 19th in the world at this time last year. I mean, this isn't, as you pointed out, this isn't Phil Mickelson, right? This isn't Tiger. This isn't, name another, 4, 5, 6-time major winner that would make a ton of sense to kind of slot in this position. I mean, this is at the time he's getting the call, a 38-year-old who has admitted, Patrick, and I think this is an important point to be made, has admitted, I'm not in this buddies circle. I'm not best buddies with Jordan and Justin and Scotty and Sam Burns and all these guys, right? I'm kind of this outsider looking in of this group that I want to be included in. This isn't Fred Couples, that knows everybody and they all love him. This is a little bit of a different character. This just kind of goes back, and I've listened to a couple of pods that pointed this out. This goes back to the plan of the American Ryder Cup team and the kind of the philosophy and the ethos of what you want to be. And this felt like a random decision at the time. I think everybody was kind of going, oh, well, that's got a little bit different. Sure, Keegan Bradley, whatever. But I feel like they never had a plan for if he started to do what he's doing right now. And now he's 7th in the world. And I mean, you and I both talked about easily a top 12 American golfer in the world right now. And if you're going to put out the 12 best American players, Keegan should be on the team. But now that he's a captain, what does he have to do? Because I laid out the scenarios, and listen, you don't have to be a genius to understand these. Scenario number 1, Keegan is the captain, does not play. That's scenario 1, probably what most of us thought was going to happen the first 4 months of the year. Scenario 2 is he's a playing captain, which, and Trevor Immelman was on last night with Musso, and he said, I don't know how you can do that. Like, the responsibilities of a captain are so massive that week that it would be so tough to be thinking about playing good golf and dealing with all the captaincy stuff. So maybe you're the captain, but you have the assistants do everything, but still that's added responsibility when you're trying to go out there and beat some of the best players in the world. And then the third one is relinquishing the captaincy and deciding to be fully a player, which to me probably makes the most sense. But then that adds a whole nother wrinkle on who the captain's going to be. Do you bring Tiger in last minute and Tiger can kind of avoid all the annoying media stuff that he didn't want to do? I mean, do you tap Phil on the shoulder? They're not going to do that. It'd be awesome if they did. Or do you lean on?
That's the only thing that's missing.
I mean, it would be so. I mean, Phil should tweet this out. Like, I'm in on that. Or do you lean on a Furyk or a Snedeker or somebody that's already kind of in the mix and allow them to kind of be in charge? But I don't know if any of those scenarios are great for the American team, considering they're already, in my opinion, an underdog. But those are basically, that's what's on the table right now.
Yeah, so he was on Golf Central after with Brandel, and they kind of asked him, like, hey, would you let go of the captaincy? He said, I'm 100% going to remain the captain, even if I'm playing. And we talked about this last night, where in his introductory press conference, Keegan was all about youth, adding new voices to the leadership room, a real change of the guard. And you saw it with Snedeker, Kisner, Webb Simpson, guys with zero Ryder Cup leadership experience. Snedeker, Kisner, assistant captains there in Montreal for the President's Cup team. Webb Simpson at Quail Hollow a couple years back. And then you see Jim Furyk randomly get added. And he said last night, obviously you got Jim Furyk, one of the greatest players to play and also a great captain at the President's Cup if he was to be a playing captain. And so I think Furyk being in there, Jimbo F, he's going to run that pro style offense, as we know. And you have a lot of the same guys from the President's Cup leadership room with Kisner and Snedeker, and then you bring Simpson in. So I think adding Furyk to the leadership room was intentional to potentially being a playing captain, because it went so well in Paris.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question about this, because we've done this already. Is Keegan in your 12? Do you put a list together of your players that are on this Ryder Cup team? I put my 12 together. I also did Europe as well. But, 6 auto, 6 picks. Has Keegan made your team as of right now?
Keegan's not only in my 12, I think he's a top 5 American right now.
Oh, nice. Okay. Who do you have?
Okay, so Josh, if you can bring up the list. So I have the guys who are automatically qualified right now. That's Scotty, Xander, JJ, Russell, Bryson, JT. Colin just fell out. He's on the team. Ben Griffin, there's something I don't trust about him. I think it's his sunglasses. I know they have a reason, a health reason, but he is on my team despite, for whatever reason, not wanting to put him on the team. I put Ben Griffin on the team. I have Keegan as well, and I have Harris English too. So I just have the top 10 right now. And then after that, I have Cantlay and I have Sam Burns. And those are the 12. First 3 out for me, Shane. My guy P. Reed, Jordan Spieth, and Cy Young, Cameron Young.
So, Cam Young is a perfect fit for this golf course. I don't think he's going to be on the team. I really wanted to put him on my list as well. I've got everybody you've got. We only have one different player. I got Cantlay as well on the team, just in terms of kind of keeping that Xander partnership together. Cantlay to me is Justin Rose. He's Sergio. It's like these guys, Ian Poulter, these guys play well at Ryder Cups. They just show up, and that's kind of their style of game. So don't mess it up until he starts to mess it up. I almost put P on there as well. I almost put your boy on there, but I don't think he's going to get picked. So
no.
Shockingly, I don't think Keegan's going to reach for that. I've got Keegan on as well. And my only different pick, and it obviously depends on the injury, I think they will pick Spieth over Sam Burns if Spieth is playing decent golf. And the only reason I say that is I think they will likely stick a Henley type with Scotty over Sam Burns with Scotty. But I think it's crazy to think, but I think that's 11 names kind of locked in if Keegan decides to play. And then that 12 spot's the one that's going to be up for grabs. And I think you're right. I think it could be Spieth, Sam Burns, Cam Young, or even if somebody gets real hot over the next couple of weeks, that's down beyond this list. But, I mean, Mavs played great. I don't think he's going to make it. Brian Harmon, I think he's out. And I'm with you. I think Ben Griffin. They make those sunglasses that have the American flag like on the front, but you can't see them when you look out of it. Maybe he wears those for the week. Really
like
leans
middle
into
schoolers.
It. Yeah. It's like 4th of July. I think I have some of those somewhere upstairs. But yeah, I'm with you. Kind of same team outside of Spieth and Sam Burns. And again, we'll see what happens with Spieth and the injury. I've never seen Spieth walk that slow, by the way, when he was going to the golf cart. He was kind of like doing the hobbling. So I hope he's okay. By the way, Spieth and Hovland injured this past week, which is never great.
No, it's not. And I will say this about Spieth. I'd obviously love him on the team, and I'd love to see him paired with the captain, Keegan Bradley. Those two just running wild around Bethpage.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Can I throw something? I want to throw this at you because I texted you this a few days ago. I was thinking back to the Phil Tiger partnership, Hal Sutton's partnership, when they threw them together and they just got their doors blown off. and it didn't work out very well. A lot of people roll their eyes at it. I wish we could lean a little bit more into it. I think that one match, I think captain's like kind of a secret handshake behind the rooms. Let's do one match, like a 4-ball match with the 4 biggest players in the Ryder Cup. So like throw a Scotty Bryson out there versus Rory Rahm, and just let's get the 4 biggest names, the 4 best players, and just see what they can do with 4-ball. Like I want to see more Phil Tiger, not less Phil Tiger.
Yeah, first match every Ryder Cup.
Ooh, first match is a great call.
Yeah, your top 2 guys, and then you're off and running. Then it's fair game. You can do whatever you want after that. But I love it. Yeah, you don't see it enough. It's like, oh, you got to spread the wealth.
Yeah,
I want power on power, baby.
Yeah, and these guys are pros. They're all really good at golf, obviously. What about Europe? Did you do your Europe list or no?
I did, and some pretty substantial changes also.
So
I go
got
first.
Yeah, I got if we got the list up there as well. I mean, Rory Rahm, Shane Lowry, Tyrrell's on there, Bobby Mack on there as well. Sepp I've got on the team. Fleetwood I've got on the team. I've still got Ludwig on the team. He's just not played great golf, but I don't think they're going to leave him off. Hovland I've got on there as well. Dietrich on my team. Rasmus Højgaard, and then Fitzy, who I don't even think is in the top 18 on the points. But Fitzy has started to play some solid golf, and I feel like Fitzy's a player for the Ryder Cup. So no Justin Rose anymore. Rose is the form has fallen off, and I just don't think he makes the squad.
Yeah, I could see Rose being tapped as like an assistant captain last minute.
Assistant to the assistant.
Yeah, the Dwight Schrute role. Rose is off my team. I put Fitz on as well. So I have 9 similar, kind of the 9 main guys who feel like legitimate locks right now. I put Aaron Rai on the team, and I also put same guys last time. RNP, Rasmus Nørgaard Peterson. Great U.S. Open. U.S. Open. Needed it. So those are my 12.
Yeah, I think there's a real opportunity he makes the team. It's just, I mean, when you look at the difference in the American team, we've been beating this drum for months, but the difference in the American team where you legitimately could go probably 16, 17 deep and not be surprised by some of those names. I mean, even into you and I knowing Reed's not going to make it, I don't think Reed is a crazy pick. He's played solid golf this season. He's played well in the events we've seen him at. I don't think it's completely off the board to go Patrick Reed. I think Europe, it's pretty much like 10 names and then 2 spots, and I mean, kind of what it feels like to me.
What happens if Brooks Koepka finishes T4 at the Open for you?
Just a tough pick for me. It's never been his event, I mean, that's one of my problems with Brooks here is I don't know how raw Brooks is, and I do sometimes think there are people that are great at individual golf and people that are great at team golf. Sometimes they cross over. But Brooks, to me, is an awesome individual. I want to go out and beat everybody's brains in golfer. And I don't know if it's always been the best fit in terms of team golf. We've seen him play well at times, but I probably am not throwing Brooks on there no matter what he does, unless he just, unless, like you said, if he wins the Open, he probably makes it.
Yeah. Just the Liv boys loved it. It was like, oh, he's got to be on the team after top 20 at the U.S. Open.
You're like, I don't know.
Gotta.
Before we move off Travelers, I did want to float this your way because you and I talked so much about how good the Travelers is. I was kind of putting together like a list of the tiers of men's pro golf. You got the majors, obviously the 4 majors of the majors. Not just great, but feels special golf tournaments. I have the Players, the BMW PGA, and Riv. I just think Riv, in terms of elevation and the golf course, feels even bigger than the other big PGA Tour events. Mm-hmm. Always exciting, always entertaining. I've got Phoenix, Travelers, Pebble, Scottish, Bay Hill, and Kapalua. Is that fair?
Okay, yeah. You got me still.
And then I've got good golf tournaments. Memorial, Aussie Open, Irish Open. What am I forgetting? What do I don't have on the list?
Good. Okay, so, man, just doing based on memory.
So like I don't have Torrey on there, which is obviously an event that typically gets a lot of good names in it. I mean, I'm trying to kind of go through go from west to east, right? No Sony on there as well. The elevated events, I mean, most of them are on the list. They're going to be somewhere floating around the top of it. But yeah, I mean, the Travelers is like a top 4 or 5 PGA Tour event. It always feels like it is.
I'd put the BMW as good. That tends to be my favorite playoff event.
Okay.
And the WGA really they always put together a great one. So I'd put that one up there also. But yeah, I agree with the list.
All right, time for 5 minutes with our man Justin Ray, 21st Group. You know, the guy on Twitter everybody loves and quotes. Hopefully they quote him when he throws out an amazing stat. Jay Ray, before we get into some golf from this weekend, can I get your thoughts on your NBA basketball team and a one Kevin Durant?
I cannot believe that I thought our eyes were set on Durant. That wasn't the surprising part. The surprising part was how little we had to give up. I mean, I say we as a Rockets fan my whole life, but being able to keep all the young pieces, with the exception of Jalen Green, I mean, I'm over the moon ecstatic about the possibilities here moving forward, because it's like you play through the end of Durant's career and you've still got all these guys who are 22, 23, get them extended, and you've got another window after that. It's just, I'm absolutely thrilled. I'm so exhausted right now from the last 2 long work weeks, but I'm just kind of floating from that joy that's given me.
Jay Ray, the excitement you're giving me is, I'm going to say my friends in Phoenix don't feel the same way. So in case you're wondering how the Arizona boys are doing, let's get into some golf. And I want to focus a little bit on obviously the KPMG and the LPGA Major. Great event. Golf course played tough. There were players kind of complaining about the setup and all that. What do you got on Frisco?
So for the week, the course averaged 75.6 strokes, which was the hardest over the course of 72 holes in any women's major since the 2013 U.S. Women's Open. So it's been a long time.
Where was that one at? I'll look it up.
Yeah, I don't have it handy off the top of my head. But it played really difficult. I think, when you grab these players after a 5.5, 6 hour round in the 100-degree heat, I mean, it was so oppressively hot this week in the DFW area over the last 5-6 days. It's windy. And then there was this kind of perfect confluence of factors coming together to slow everything down on the front 9, where there was a drivable par 4 that wasn't really drivable. And sometimes they'd let players hit into play through, and sometimes they didn't. It was really just that was the thing that bothered me most about the course setup, not necessarily calling it unfair, but that there was just a logistical kind of confluence of terrible things coming together to make the rounds really slow. And I think that added to the frustration. But overall, I thought we got a great champion, obviously. Minjee Lee played incredible. The improvement she's made with her putting is one of the great stories in golf this year. She was outside the top 100 in strokes gained putting last season. She led the field in strokes gained putting in her win this week and is like 5th on tour this season in that statistic.
Is that putter new this year?
Yeah, that's the broomstick, right?
Went to the broomstick. And then the first thing I think that Tom Abbott asked her after winning was, do you wish you would have gone to it sooner? And she said no, but I mean, I think in the back of her mind, she's been pretty successful regardless, but she's got a good win into a strength.
Good win. Do you want the other putter? By the way, Patrick, that was a Sabonic 2013 U.S. Women's Open. And let me just give you some final round scores from those players when the conditions got nasty. Our champion, MB Park, shot 74. IK Kim, 74. Jody Ewart-Shadoff shot 76, finished in the top 5. Angela Stanford, 74. It was not fun. That was a
74 is beating the field by 2 shots. So, I mean,
Nelly shot 81.
That's a damn good 74.
Love that. It was cool at the Travelers. They had Minwoo Lee in front of the mic as Minjee won, which was awesome to see. That just like completely different characters, those two, different ends of the spectrum. But obviously, Jay Ray, all the chatter, all the talk. Captain Keegan, is it going to happen? You got any goodies on Mr. Bradley for us?
So the last time before Keegan yesterday that a Ryder Cup captain won on the PGA Tour the same season, he was the captain of the Ryder Cup. Arnold Palmer in 1963. Palmer was 34, and he ended up being the youngest captain in the history of the Ryder Cup. He was also a playing captain that year. Each of the last, I think it was 3 times that a player has won that season and was the Ryder Cup captain, they were a playing captain. But it's all from a couple generations ago when it was much more common. There's less scrutiny on the event, less media, less everything going on, obviously. It's going to be one of the interesting subplots, obviously, the next couple of months, because I think he's indisputably good enough to play on that team. And I think they're demonstrably better with a guy with experience in the Ryder Cup who loves the event, is passionate about it, and is a good fit in a lot of different formats with a lot of different types of players.
Jay Ray, we talk positives about Keegan, and then you gotta kind of look the other way and go, oh, Tommy. I mean, it was just such a bummer for golf fans. I mean, I feel like there are a few players that are, kind of 100% approval rating. Tommy's one of those players, but comes up short once again in terms of trying to win on the PGA Tour.
It's really inexplicable, right? Because he's won everywhere else. I mean, he's won big tournaments all over the world. Obviously a Ryder Cup stalwart and hero, going 5-0-0 a couple of years, was that 2018 back in the day in France. I mean, he's done basically everything you can in the sport besides win a major championship and just win on the U.S. soil. 42 top 10 finishes on the PGA Tour. That is the most by far by anyone without a victory over the last 40 years.
Consistency is crazy, Patrick. I mean, it just feels like, the ball striking, and I think that's what we talked about in terms of ball striking. The ball striking is so good with this guy. He kind of rolls out of bed and can shoot 4 or 5 under, but I mean, down the stretch, it was a little shaky, and that's where he lost it. Jay Ray, go Rockets. Pumped for you. Fun to see the trade come your way, lean your way. You're one of the good dudes in all of golf. Get some rest, and we can kind of start to think about the Open Championship in a couple weeks.
Thanks, guys. Always love joining you.
We are kind of starting to get pretty close to this Open Championship, Patrick. Do you want to potentially do some power rankings for the Open? I mean, what are we 3 weeks out from the Open Champ?
You got the Rocket, you got the Johnny Deere, the Scottish, and then the Open.
And then we roll right into it.
Yeah.
This has been the most fun power rankings, I think. Open Championship. It feels like Masters, U.S. Open, pretty chalky. Even the PGA, it was like Rory's playing well, Scotty's playing well, all that stuff. But these are different, man. Picking these open championships on these types of golf courses are a little bit different. So I'll let you kick us off in terms of your power rankings as we get closer and closer to the Open.
Yeah, let's do it. So I have a guy who might not be feeling too hot this morning at number 5. It is one Tommy Fleetwood. Tom Fleet, Open champion, not yet in waiting. Runner up there in 2019, of course, like we mentioned. T4 in 22, top 10 in 23. Great links golf player. Doing everything well except getting into the winner's circle. So he's number 5 to kick it off.
5 for me as well. Tommy Fleetwood,
Ooh,
same spot on my list. And then as I roll into 4, Patrick, I've got somebody that I'm assuming is probably even higher on your list. You tend to lean higher on this guy. I feel like, not to say I don't think he's great. Didn't play awesome last week, which wasn't a big help for me here. But I just feel like the Open's great for him. I got Xander at number 4 on my list.
Wow. I'm going to tell you right now. The reigning champion golfer of the year is not on your list. My top 5. No, man. But thank God Xander's cut streak continued last week. Congratulations to him for that T61 finish. My number 4 is a man who did not finish 18 holes this past week. It's Jordan Spieth. Always
number 4.
Got to consider him.
Okay.
First finish in an Open is a T44 in 2013. He now has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8 straight top 30s, including that win in 2017. He's coming to this championship with nothing, Shane, and has contended. And so give me Jordan. He's going to get healthy. He's going to welcome a new kid into the world. And who knows, maybe he'll raise a new Claire jug too.
So not on your Ryder Cup team, but probably going to win the Open. I got it. I got you.
Yeah,
We're just making sure I'm adding all this up correctly.
Then type of situation.
I got you. I don't have Spieth on mine, but goodness gracious, I hope he contends. It'd be fun. My number 3 is Bobby Mack. I think he's going to be who I picked to win the Open Championship. So I figured I might as well get him somewhere in there to start the power rankings. Played extremely well here back in 2019. I just feel like he's a proper Open Championship golfer, and I think he's gonna continue the momentum he's got going right now.
A proper bloke for sure, and also my number 3 on the power rankings. Wow. Yeah, look at us, 2 out of the first 3. I like it. Who's your number 2?
I got Scotty at 2.
Whoa!
Do not have Scotty at 1. He cannot be my number 1 with the Open resume he's got going. But I will say this about Scotty Scheffler, Josh. Can you throw up his finishes since I believe the Players? I think basically Houston on. If you look at how Scotty has played in 2025, it's decent. The consistency is okay there. Worst finish is T8 at the Heritage. listen, I'm not saying who it reminds me of, but if you go to 2000, you go to 2001, you go to 2007, you'll see similarities in these runs for 2, 3, 4 months. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it seems like he's had his C game for the past couple months.
Yeah, I mean, he's played okay.
Here are 3 wins. Here are all top 10 finishes.
Yeah.
Number 2 is House Tyrell Hatton.
Wow.
Yeah, I have
love
him up
that.
there big time. T4 at the U.S. Open. Was so mad about how the faces of the bunkers had thick rough. He talked about it Saturday, Shane. He was so pissed off. And then what was his undoing on Sunday on 17? That ball getting caught up in the face of the bunker because of the rough.
I'm so mad about it.
T6 here in 2019. Great links record. You think about all his wins at St. Andrews throughout the year. So I have Hatton 2, and I'm going to push back. I have Scotty Scheffler at 1. The links resume finished T7 last year. Didn't shoot anything over par. 4 top 25 finishes in his Open career. So I'm going to go with Scotty at 1.
My number 1 is John Rahm. I think it's going to be Bobby Mack, John Rahm, final pairing come Sunday at the Open Championship, and we'll see who dukes it out and wins that thing. I just feel like John Rahm is, again, it's so hard to say he's trending because I have no idea what he's doing on Live. And this is no knock to Live. I just don't watch a lot of Live. It's just I don't know when they're playing. I don't think they've had an event since the U.S. Open. They're playing this week, right? So they'll be in Texas. It's gonna be like 1,000,000 degrees in Texas, by the way. And I don't know if John's gonna love that. But and they're playing a brutally tough golf course. I think it's Merido this week, which is just like one of the hardest golf courses you'll ever play in your life. But I like Rahm trending, and you know if you're John Rahm, you kind of need to win a major. Like we're starting to kind of creep into that space where now you're a couple of years removed. Now you're 3 years removed. It's like when you get to that space, it's you start to wonder when it's going to happen. And obviously a post-Open Championship, it's a long wait till the next one. So I have Rahm at 1. You've got Scotty at 1. That's our very, very way too early Open Championship power rankings. And I think we have 4 different names on there.
We had only 2 the same. We had Bobby Mack at 3, Fleetwood at 5. And so, yeah, Live Golf in Dallas this week. They got the Heat Dome. I don't know if that's if that's stretching to the
listen. As somebody from Texas, it's always the Heat Dome, June to July. It doesn't matter if it's actually dome or not.
And then the week before the Open, they're at Valderrama as well. So a little home cooking for Rahm.
He'll probably win that
going into Port Rush. So I like him. I can't believe he's off my list, but I have his Legion 13 confidant.
Valderrama is one of those golf courses that's just kind of been in golf lexicon for 25 years, and I don't know a lot about the golf course, but it just when you hear it, you know it. You know, it's one of those places very tight. I remember that shaved bank at the par 5 that one year, and everybody was all upset about it. But looking forward to getting closer and closer to the Open Championship. Those are the rankings. All right, Patrick, it is Rocket Classic week. Not Rocket Mortgage Classic week. Is this the first year the name changed?
First year.
I saw it pop up like that, and I was a little bit confused. It's almost like the WM versus the Waste Management for so many years. Detroit Golf Club. I'd say a decent field. Is that fair to say?
Very good for this tournament, and especially when you think about the run of golf that we've been on the last 4 weeks. We've had 2 signature events in a major. And so for these guys to make the trip, like Colin, Cantlay, who never play Gen Pop events, you know, what's going on in Detroit, Shane?
It's crazy. Keegan's there. Hideki's there. Wyndham's there. Good luck.
Keep your head on a swivel.
Everybody pay attention. Just be paying attention. Cam Young, I think, being in the field this week, obviously, as we've talked about with the Ryder Cup, opportunity to do something there. But it's it's like you said, it's a take a breath week for golfers. I think it's been an exciting event over the years. It's one of those ones you check in on Saturday, Sunday and get yourself all dialed. CBS team's going to be in Detroit rocking and rolling, and it should be exciting in terms of the way it finishes. I feel like the golf course finishes well, which is something you like to see. As we look at kind of picks, The picks aren't easy this week because, as we said, it's really like the favorites and then everybody else. So I went a little off the board on I think who can win. I went with Luke Clanton. I think could win this week. Playing in the field, I think kind of itching to get that victory under his belt. And then I went a couple of names that you're familiar with, but maybe aren't as high on the odds list as you're used to seeing. I got Tony, Finau, and I got Ricky.
Whoa!
My can win list.
Ryder
Ricky,
Cup.
Tony, Luke. Ryder
Cup.
Get on the team. Oh my goodness, dude! If he wins, it's going to be a conversation, isn't it?
Ryder Cup.
Oh gosh.
Okay.
Is
I
Tony
like
the
those.
same conversation or no? If he wins, do they
Tony,
both join that convo?
Yeah, why not? Why
Okay.
not? Yeah, we need more to talk about. Come on, Tony. Winning in for these guys at this point of the season, 3 months out. Okay, I attacked the same area of the board, and I'm going to ask you a question after I release my picks, asking you for an additional pick.
Okay,
little fun one. I went with Matty Fitzpatrick, like you said, playing some better golf.
Would be huge for him.
Yep, Akshay could have won this tournament last year. Doing enough for me right now. And then your boy, Max Homa.
Ooh, I had him last week.
Yep. Let's do it. Why not? Made a hole in one time here. I remember that. So the bonus pick for you, Shane, if you recall, the Rocket is home of the 3-1-3 challenge.
Ooh,
Originally,
that's right.
It was in one round. These players had to complete the
which is like
challenge.
Legitimately an impossible thing to do. Yep. So that was that a birdie hole in one eagle? Is that what it was?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And they've changed it.
Normal stuff.
They've changed it to now throughout the tournament. So my question to you is, who is your 3-1-3 challenge winner, if there is one? First one in tournament history, if it does happen.
I'm going Zach Johnson. Zach Johnson's doing it. Throw Zach into it. 3-1-3. You know what? Put him on the team. 3-1-3 winner. Get him on the team. Get him in the combo. Let's go.
How
Who do you have?
How many FedEx Cup points do you get for winning the 3-1-3 challenge? Not enough. I'll tell you that much. My pick for the 3-1-3 challenge this week is Alejandro Tosti.
Ooh.
Gonna be the guy.
You know what the problem with Toasty winning it is? Do you get anything if you win it? Like, you don't get any extra money or anything, do you? He'd probably be asking for, say, probably going, I won the thing you asked me to win. What am I going to get for this? Do I get rental car points or something? Like, what's happening here? But
where's my 2-year exemption?
Golly. I almost picked Toasty to win this week. I just couldn't do it. On my can't win list, you're going to like this. I literally picked the 3 favorites on the board. Yes. Keegan, not going back-to-back. Morikawa, not going to win this week. And Cantlay is not winning. Those are the 3 favorites at the Rocket Classic, and I have all 3 of those on my cannot win list.
I love that. So, I mean, you took the 3 right out of my mouth, so I'll just go the next 3. Ben Griffin, not
winning. Not winning again.
Cam Young, don't forget to bring an extra driver since you broke yours on the back 9 on Sunday last year. And then Hideki Matsuyama, not winning.
What's Hideki been doing this year? I just don't really feel like I've seen a lot of Hideki,
One top 10, and it was the win at the century.
That's a long time ago, man.
Yeah, crazy.
That's wild. So starts the year out as hot as anybody in the world, and then has done nothing since.
Yeah, his best finish has been T13 at Genesis, T16 at the Sony, and T17 at the Truist. He does not have a top 20 since Philly.
Jeez, that's so weird. It's just so crazy when guys like Hideki with that much talent in terms of ball striking are struggling. My winner, by the way, Luke Clanton, I'm picking to win this week at the Rocket Classic. My sleeper, Davis Riley, is my sleeper this week. Who do you got winning? Who's your snooze dude?
My winner is Matt Fitzpatrick, getting back into the winner circle. And then my snooze dude, love that, Trevor Cone, Virginia Tech Hokie.
I almost picked him, man.
Really?
I went with the Cone boy.
Oh, man. Cone
throwing him inside, painting the corners.
You kidding me?
I love it.
God, yeah. Followed him a little bit there at Oakmont in the practice rounds. Was playing with Thirsty, his fellow Hokie, and was he a Legion 13? No, Ironhead legend Scott Vincent also in the mix. So that was good fun.
Scott Vincent. I mean, not a name you hear that much of anymore. That was a popular name early into the Live days when he was playing very, very good out of the gate. But that's the Rocket Classic, Detroit Golf Club, as we said. I feel like it's one of those events the fans come out for. And as I said, once you get to Saturday and Sunday, typically pretty exciting. And yeah, I mean, if you're Keegan, incredible opportunity, right? I mean, you talk about changing the storyline. If you get in the hunt and win again, for goodness sakes, you're on the team. Can I ask you one last Ryder Cup thing before we go?
Please.
So we've talked about the captaincy and Keegan saying, I'm not going to give up the captaincy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say he does. Let's say Wah and the team comes to him and says, we want you on the team, but the responsibility is $2,000 for you to be the captain. And Tiger doesn't want to do it, and they're not going to tap Phil, and they can't go with wherever they're going to go. How different, how silly, how stupid, or how sensible would it be to get a Steve Kerr or a Sean McVay, like a leader of men, somebody that does this for a living? It's golf. It's not football. It's not basketball. But in theory, you're not picking the teams anyway. That's an analytical squad. That's Justin Ray. That's, whoever you have doing that stuff.
Us.
And you're also talking to the players. They're telling you who they want to play with. You've got your little pod system. They couldn't go in there and motivate these guys to play some good golf. Like, is that crazy to throw a name like that in the mix?
Wow. Why stop there, Shane? I think if we get to the point where Keegan Bradley, they tell him, they kind of push him out a la Joe Biden, that another political figure, I think President Donald Trump would truth social something and be like, Keegan Bradley, a great player. I'm more than willing to take the reins of the U.S. Ryder Cup team if presented. Could be a bit of a coup there, but why not get weird with it? The U.S. Ryder Cup team leadership's been odd the past few times, so whatever.
I mean, there's a lot. I'll say this: there's always a lot of drama around the American Ryder Cup team. Europe is just the steady couple, man. They love each other. They respect each other. They do everything the other person needs without being asked to do it. The American Ryder Cup team is a couple that may or may not get in a fight every now and again. There could be some yelling. There could be some rough mornings, and then they just get back to loving each other every now and again. But it's interesting, if nothing else, and it's kind of in that part of the season where we don't have a ton to talk about before the Open Championship. So shout out to Keegan for at least giving us something and for going and getting it. Keegan, the winner. Who knows what's going to happen with the Ryder Cup team? Good chatting with you. We'll be back next week.